We the Israelites, G. By now you can't see. Type it in, I beg you please. Type it in, I beg you please. We the Israelites, G. By now you can't see. Type it in, I beg you please. Type it in, I beg you please. No religion, my brother. Straight roots and culture. See the people over there in Israel, those guys are vultures. They took us away, made us into slaves, took away our last names. Animals we became, didn't even have any shoes on our feet. Gave us crap food to eat, the same food we still eat. Oxtail, pig's tail, cow food, chicken food. Take a look, hey, we've been conditioned, you see. Biggest weapon, Christianity. Teaching the people.
Shalom, shalom.
Our ancestors never heard or seen. Christmas, not in the Bible, G. Easter, not in the Bible, G. Lent, not in the Bible, G. Rah. That's not what the pastor preached to me. He told me the law is down the way. He said by grace that we are free. No, there has to be law and order. Without order, there's no order.
Yes, y'all come on in the room. We're glad to have you. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
No guidelines, no manual of how to rise. Real eyes, realize, real lies. Israelites, it's time to rise. It's time to rise. It's time to rise. We the Israelites.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Type it in, I beg you please. Type it in, I beg you please. We the Israelites, G. By now you can't see. Type it in, I beg you please. Type it in, I beg you please.
Hallelujah. 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 And shalom, shalom, shalom to all of Israel that have been scattered, my brothers and sisters, worldwide, all of my father's children. And once again, it is my privilege to be with you on tonight as we study the Restoring Our Identity series. And as we promised, we are going to be now restoring our vocabulary. All right, because we started off going through all of the alphabet, and we talked about that. We've done all 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and over 100 and some hours worth of study. You can, if you are the first time in the room, you already know. You can go anytime and look at the alphabet, and it's called that because obviously our Aleph is the first letter and Bet is the second letter of our Hebrew alphabet, and it's called the alphabet. And what we discovered in that series, we began to scratch the surface on who we are, whose we are, and again, to understand the Bible, Zion, you and I both know, you've got to know the who, what, where, when, how, why. And so we have been taking our time on, especially on Tuesday nights, to help Zion educationally learn some things about our culture, our people. That's why we call it restoring. Toda Rabbah, not even 5 minutes in the room, over 126 people in the room as I speak. We give Abba Yah praise, honor, and glory for that. If you all can hear, okay, would you do the Moreh a favor and place a 7, please? Place a 7 in the chat. Somebody says, why? We just want to make sure that everybody can see okay, everybody can hear okay, before we actually start the lesson for tonight. And oh my goodness, we got something to say. All right, them 7s are in the room. Hallelujah. And once again, I'm Moreh Yoshiyahu Dawid of the ARK being Israel. And of course, Yaron is not with me. That's obvious. You can see he is down taking care of Grandpa, and we appreciate him doing that, and pray that all is well with him, and that he and grateful he has safe travels down, and pray that he have safe travels as he returns. So tonight, once again, I'll be it'll just be me, Zion. I believe that we'll be able to still get some insight to the very word of Yah and to our language. Now, I've said this on every video. I'm going to say it on this one. There would be no need. There would be no need to have a series of messages titled the rediscovering or the restoration of our identity, helping Israel be restored, if our identity had not been stolen. Our identity was stolen. It was beat out of us. It was raped out of us, lynched out of us. The unrighteous slavers who worked for Satan, Hasatan the devil, watched carefully and learned from the previous captivities Israel found themselves in. But no captivity could compare to this last captivity that, believe it or not, is still in effect today. Yes. Most of you watching me, you're not watching from your native homeland. I'm talking about the land of your people. Most of you watching me tonight, you're watching me from the land of your captivity. You are still on the same soil, walking on the same roads and paths, and living in the same regions, cities, counties, or states where your grandfather and grandmother were put into slavery and served, like the Bible says, with rigor to the worst heathen on planet Earth. There have been no slavery as worse as this one, this last 400 years, and there will be no slavery after this one, Zion. And as I mentioned, this last slavery, the slavers mastered it. And they learned each time we were in captivity what the captors did wrong, that enabled us eventually to get out. And so, of course, in the first captivity in Egypt, there was just a paranoid leader there. His name was, he was a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph. And while we were into slavery, he was paranoid over our strength. He said, them Hebrews are stronger than us. He said, and they're having babies faster than us. They're wiser than us. And if we don't do something to contain them, they might join with our enemies and then get free. And of course, Abaya got us out of there because, one, we were still connected. The book of Exodus is actually, the actual name of the book of Exodus is These Are the Names. So the idea is we were able to retain our name. And of course, we knew our tribes, we knew all that, our language. And of course, we came out of there when we called upon the name of Abba. He delivered us. And then I could go do the same thing when what happened when we went to Assyria. The Assyrians went so far, just like the Babylonians. They did put on us Babylonian names, but they didn't beat the old name out of you. So, Mashiel, Hananiah, and Azariah, we still know them as who they are, even though they were given the the Babylonian names of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And the same way with Daniel, he retained his Hebrew name. Dan means judge. El, of course, is, our Elohim, which people say God, and we don't use that word anymore, but so it is, Yah will judge. So we know that, even though they had changed his name to Belshazzar. So my point is, then this last slavery when Rome came in, and then with the Americas and the transatlantic, they took a piece of every slavery and they said, okay, one, we're gonna have to take away their complete name. They cannot ever go back to their name. We have to take the very remembrance of the fact that they're Israel out of their mind. And they did it during a meeting. According to the Bible, it was not accidental. According to the Bible, they had a plan and they said, let us come together and let's wipe Israel completely out. And so by the time we get to this particular slavery, the world had noticed and looked on what we had done, Zion, and what we have been through, and said, I know how we're going to have them. And there is actually documents out there that talk about these evil satanic spawns of the devil and how sick and twisted their mind was, and how they used that oppression that they said would make a Hebrew Israelite, us, a slave. Watch this. 200 to 300 years after they took the shackles off our neck and the fetters and chains off our feet. They said we perfected it. And there's a lot of things that they did to perfect it. And the number one thing was they said, we are not going to let them speak their own language. Like number one. So you try to speak Hebrew on them ships, boy, you got beat down or you got killed. You try to speak Hebrew and try to pass down some Hebrew words, they were going to kill you for that. You had to speak this nasty witchcraft slave trade language that they call English. It's sickening. It's a stinking, nasty, perverted language. It's part of our curse. We went from the most beautiful language in the world, Hebrew, the most perfect and the most majestic language in the world, down to this dirty, nasty, sickening tongue that we speak today called English. It's ridiculous. It's nasty. But that's what they gave us. Then they took our name away, right? They said, there's nothing we're going to do. We cannot let them remember their name. So they didn't just give us another name. They put an old nasty, stinking English or Scottish or whatever kind of name on us and made us carry that name until we actually started getting proud of having a slave name on us. And I've said this in almost every video, and I'm going to say it again tonight. One of our issues right now is every time we use the last name that the slavers gave us, it represents slave. It's a slave mindset, a slave mentality, no doubt. Because you can look at me and tell my last name ain't supposed to be Ingram. You can look at me and tell I'm not an O'Toole. You can look at me. You already know. So then this idea that we carry these dirty, nasty names, and then they made you proud of have that name. So we started having these family reunions based on slave plantations and not really on blood lineage. And that's a whole nother thing. So by the time we came around, then our very names were gone. We didn't even know we were Israelites because none of our names were Israelite names. And the ones that they did have out the Bible, they were Christianized. So they knew they had to do those two things. And then, of course, one of the things they did is during slavery is they would not allow any type of land ownership. Couldn't own any property, no land, which meant you could never have wealth. So no matter what happened, you couldn't own dirt. Whereas in previous captivities among our people, Zion, we could buy homes. I know you're saying, what? Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, if you read the book of Jeremiah told the king to tell the people that you're only going to be there 70 years. So build you a house, get you some land, and go ahead and serve out your punishment, because you finna get a whooping because you disobeyed Abayah. But the king rebelled and it made everything worse. But the fact is, they could actually have their own house, even during and Babylonian slavery was terrible too. But the idea of this dehumanizing thing that they did here, then they said that even though you are the original man, I'll put it like that, you are the original human on the planet, they began to say you were not all human. So again, we're talking about this dirty, nasty slavery. And by a person thinking that they're not all the way human, they start to then do what? Rest on their beast or animal nature. And when a person begins to live according to their animal nature, they start actually thinking that they're animals. And so what they had to keep doing is saying, you're not a human, you're not a human, you're not a human. And unfortunately, we live in a day today where the majority of the white supremacist culture still feels like that. They just feel like you're not equal to them, but you're not necessarily as low as the monkey. For the most part, you between monkey and man. You like a really good monkey man. But if, white supremacists say, but if you jump in the swimming pool, we're gonna drain the whole pool. Why? Because you're not the same as us. And so that mindset, and people doing stuff like that, where you can't drink out the same faucets, you can't sit on the same bus, you can't go to the same school, you can't teach the same, all that kind of stuff psychologically begin to make most of our people actually take on this like lower mindset, when in reality, it's the exact opposite. So when you have the story, say like of the ugly duckling, we find out that it's actually the swan. So the ugly ducklings are the ducks. They are the ugly ones. They're the ugly ducks. They're the ducks. But the swan is the swan. And the swan is being told, you the ugly duck, until the swan grows up and look around and go, you a lie. You the ugly duck. You duck you. Swan look around, all the other swans and be like, why we the most beautiful birds out here? Man, look at the grace, the talent, our song, our flight. Boy, look at, and so what really happens is we start understanding something. We're not the ugly ducklings. We're the apple of Yah's eye. We are the true princess. We are the true sheep of his pasture. We are the called out of the called out. We find out that, oh, no, my black skin is not a curse. My black skin is a blessing. My black skin means I don't need no tattoos. My black skin say, I don't need no makeup. My black skin say, I need the sun to shine on me, to energize me, because I'm a cosmocrat. My black skin say I got melanin. My black skin allows me to have rhythm. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So what I'm trying to say is, we realize that we're connected to the earth and the soil, and we read the Bible. Adam means brown and taken from the earth, and blood, and so. But until our brains turned over, we were told we were dirty, nasty Gentiles that needed white Jesus to save our souls. And you even had these black preachers all over America talking about, I thank the Lord for slavery. If it wasn't for slavery, we would have never met white Jesus. Going to hell for that anyway. Woo! And pushing that on our people. If y'all understand that there's a need for the restoration, of our people. Not just Morey said, no, we should teach the Bible, but having gone through all the things I just mentioned, put a 12 in the chat for the 12 tribes of Israel. Come on, put a 12 in this chat for the 12 tribes of Israel. While I take a sip of water. Let me see if my administrators made it in the house yet. If y'all in the room, post a 12. I know I was supposed to tell you wrong when I went live. I better tell him. Yes, sir. All right. There he is, here in the room. Hallelujah. Now, I want to take it a little step further. What they did here. Well, they told you couldn't read. Why? Because in Egypt, obviously, we could read. Coming out of Egypt, we could read. We are the original when it comes to language. The original written language is our language. They didn't tell you that. You know what they told you? They told you was oral tradition. You couldn't read and write. You could only talk. And the only way that information passed down from this is what white folks told you. They told you the way y'all passed down information was all oral. So you guys didn't read or write till you got over to America. You a damn lying. You're going to hell for that lie too. So you already know how people was reading and writing when you figure out the who in the Bible, because now you know that we've taught you. Yaron and I spent a whole lot of time. Drika's in the house. Shalom. We spent a whole lot of time telling you that our alphabet is where the Greeks got their language from. They got it from us. They were the ones in the caves illiterate, while we were in the Fertile Crescent. We were in the promised land. We were in the heart of civilization. We started the written language. Same thing. They told you that you were oral tradition. You didn't know how to read, you know how to write. Even though they stole your books, our books, and our scrolls from our ancestors. They knew that information was ours. They took it, they said, this is way too black. This is way too Israelite. This is way too Africa. And what they do, they took all of our writings and they Europeanized them. They whitewashed them. Now, you don't have to whitewash them if they were already white. This is about restoring our identity. I'm not against nobody out there. I'm just helping my people. Why would you need to why would you need to whitewash a document? A book, the people in it, if it was already white? You wouldn't have to change no names from African names to English names if it was already English. You wouldn't have to make it sound more Greek, more French. You don't have to make it sound more Scottish or whatever if it was already Scottish. But when them heathens picked up our book, they knew it was Black Africa. They knew it was East Africa. Black faces, woolly hair, burnt brass skin. They said, oh, no, we can't tell them that. So they whitewashed everything, including our Hamashiach. That's what they do. They said, that's your savior right there. Can you imagine that? They took our book from Africa, East Africa, took it to Europe, turned around, started painting. Look it, If the Moray ever paint a picture this ugly, y'all have permission to call the cops. He done committed crime against humanity, officer. He need to do some. Boy, if I ever put a pen to paper and it come out like this, I'm gonna quit drawing forever. See what happened? I don't know. I didn't draw it like this. The devil turned it into. Who does that? Who look at somebody else's book and make their king look like that? That's a mockery of our king. I want y'all to understand that. But they kept pushing these images into your head to make you not have nothing. You're less, and they do the same thing, the whole feminization. That's not my message tonight. But the whole idea of the heathen was to weaken us. And that's why the name of tonight's message is strong. I'm talking about strong. They're talking about weak. So every time they get ready to show you something, it's always weak, never strong when it's about you. And when in reality, you, Zion, that's listening to me, we're restoring our identity. That's what it's all about. You are the strongest person on planet Earth, period. Ain't nobody close. Israel, strong. It ain't got nothing to do with no, I'm not dealing with no white supremacy tonight. I'm talking about strength. Just the fact that we're still here, alive, just the fact that we still breathing oxygen means, after all we've been through, that some of us are still clothed in our right mind. After all we've been through, killing us for wanting to read, raping us, lynching us, separating our families, changing our language, stealing our book, stealing our land, stole all our mountains, stole our rivers, stole our gold, stole everything, and then told us we were less than human, told us we couldn't read or write, told us all we had was an oral tradition, shackled us, chained us to animals, and we're still here. Because we're strong. Get fired over nothing, and you ain't lost your mind? Strong. Boy, they threw everything at us, man, with that crack. And it did take a lot of us out. They took a lot, and heroin, took a lot out. But any culture that could come through that and be on the other side of an epidemic like that, you got to be strong as a nation. But what they told you is that you're weak. And so I want to read a definition. I want to read a definition tonight. I'm going to read it in English and I'm going to read it in Hebrew. But I'm going to read it in English first. Strong. They have it down as an adjective. We're going to show you it's a noun. Oh, yes. You hang with the Maury, we're going to learn something. They say it's an adjective. I'm here to tell you it's a noun. If y'all ready to learn what strong is, put a 21 in the chat, please. If you want to know what strong is, put a 21 in the chat. And the way them 21s is rolling, I'm talking about all through the, wait a minute, I didn't even notice, it's 382 people right at the 30-minute mark, 385 people in the room. Woo! Zion. Oh, I get it. We want to be restored. We want the truth now. Good. Because that's what I'm here for. Like always, I can do exactly what you can do, or you can do what I can do. Simple. Google search, strong, pull down what? First, Merriam-Webster dictionary, definition of the word. Let's read it together. Here we go. Strong, adjective. Stronger, strongest. Definition of strong. Entering one of two. I'm only dealing with one. I want to show you. I didn't write this. I did not write this. See, they say it's an adjective. All right, if it's an adjective, that means it's describing a noun, right? Oh, somebody said, Maury, I went to sleep in English class. That grammar man's starting to get me. Slow down. What's an adjective? Look it up, Hebrew. What's a noun? Look it up, Hebrew. Can't go back to square one. Come on now. Definition number one. Having. It's English. Or marked by great physical power. Who is that? Who is that? Adjective describing. If y'all think you know the answer, put it in the chat. Who is that? Strong. Having or marked by great physical power. Who has the greatest physical power on this planet? I'll wait. See? They just using an adjective. I'm saying y'all know it as a noun. Physical? Are you kidding me? The only reason why all of the boxing champions ain't all Hebrew Israelites is because we just choose not to box. You know that, right? Because when we were boxing, it wasn't nobody. Hebrews had to box each other. You do know that, right? They went all up. See, first they wouldn't let us box. They said, no, we're not going to let them fight. Why? They ain't all human. See, that's what they said. But then eventually they started letting us fight. So we walked in the ring, man, and knocking these Europeans out. Oh my, I think he killed him. Yes, he did. There was one punch. It was so fast. It was lightning fast. We didn't even see it. It was so loud. It sounded like a gun went off. Was he shot? Can we get to the bottom of this? Was our champion shot? No, it just sounded like somebody pulled both triggers on a double barrel shotgun. That's all it was, honey. Yeah, it was, but it knocked out, boom. Then they had this thing that went on forever called the Great White, and what they said, Hope, H-O-P-E, hope. They start looking, can we find even just one? No, not while we boxing, no. But as soon as we decided we wasn't boxing as a nation of people no more, then of course white people can come in and some Hispanics can get in and a couple of people. But when we boxing, ain't nobody can beat us. Come on, this is ridiculous. Same thing with track. They didn't want us to play. They didn't want us to run against them. So they made a law say you can't run against them. As soon as they let us run against them, who won? We did. Of course. And I don't care where you're from. England went home with 8 gold medals in sprint. No, Israelites went home with 8 gold medals. Was nary a European in the blocks. I already know it. They just in the land of their captivity. Same way over here. America took home 47 gold medals. No, they didn't. Hebrews brought home 47 gold medals. You Europeans ain't brought home. Wait a minute. Maybe in that cross-country skiing, y'all might have got something in that, because we ain't doing it. But if we did that, we'd win that too. And then y'all got cross-country skiing and a bow and arrow and a rifle. Man, we ain't finna do all that. Man, brother be like, man, first of all, it's cold. I ain't gonna do that for about 4 days. But if we did, though, man, brothers be shooting like this. We have to do something to stop this. They're making mockery of our sport. No, we just good. That's all. And we so far ahead, everybody else like 2 miles back there. That's why we got time to play around with the target. Come on now. First definition. They wouldn't let us play baseball. Then we got in baseball. It was over. Baseball turned all black. It actually still is. But I'm just saying. Why? Strong. Power. Didn't know us to play football. We got in football. Man, I was like, the NFL should be called the HIFL. I don't see nobody down there but Hebrew Israelites playing football in them Super Bowls. Oh, yeah. And of course, Brady, who the jury's still out. The jury's still out on him. Somebody somewhere, we don't know. He's extraordinary. We're going to give him his props. He can do it. We give him his props. But other than that, come on now. Come on. This is stop playing games. We're talking about this. They say it's an adverb. I say it's a noun. Do I need to talk about anything else? I mean, I could just go on, right? And we're talking about just physical. And it's more than that. Watch the next one. If y'all got that, if everybody understood that crystal clear, put a 27 in this chat. I'm going to move on because I don't need to spend all day. You want to talk about just people, they know better. Come on, let's stop. All right, let's go to number 2. Same. I'm using the English right now. Strong. Adjective. Number 2 now. Having moral. Having what? I'm going to put this on the screen. I hope you guys could have already did this. This is nothing difficult. This is a one clicker. Having moral or intellectual what? Power. We're talking about strong. Moral. Where'd that come from? I'm going to drop my water. Where'd that come from? So you do know that before we picked up this dirty, nasty culture that we live in, you do know that we were the most moral people on planet Earth, right? We are the people of morality. In this country, white evangelicals, white Christian preachers and pastors, whatever, they had to confess that black people, this was what they used to call us, black people. Y'all can go to hell for that too. We ain't dealing with that right now. They would say black people are the moral compass of our nation. Moral compass. You know what that means? That there was a time when everybody in this country looked to us to see whether something was moral or immoral. because the European didn't have that kind of morality. They could come over and kill all the natives and rape all the women and go on the slave trade and then go and burn crosses on people's yards and lynch people and rape their men and the women in front of the babies and kill the babies and strangle. They would do all that and then go sing "Nearer My God to Thee" on Sunday. They had no morals. They had nothing having to do with like your word is your bond. That's our thing. I talked to a man, he was 86 years old. He grew up in Texas. And, you know, of course, at that time, everything segregated back in the day. He said he had never, ever met a man that went back on his word till he was grown and moved to California. He said he didn't know how to respond to that. He said, because everybody that I talked to, if a black man said, I'll be there at such and such a time, he's going to be there at such and such a time. If you shake your hand and say, there's some work got to be done. Oh yeah, man, I'll be over there. He's going to do it. Why? Morally speaking, we just didn't go around line. We helped one another. We looked out for each other. We became the moral compass, and everybody knows it. Not so today, obviously, because, well, in a way it is, because as we go, so goes the rest of the world. So goes the rest of the nation. They stole our identity. But in morality, our people were stronger as a moral people. And I'm not going to go too deep in this, but I'm using their definition because I'm going to prove it tonight. As an adjective, notice that they said moral or intellectual power. Intellect. So you know nobody's smarter than us, right? Impossible. One, we got Torah. Our kids can learn 25-minute rap songs. Most of that stuff is nasty and dirty, but I'm just making a point. Everybody know, man, we're smart. That's why they spend so much effort trying to make us dumb. It's the whole ugly duckling syndrome. They see the swan, they go, no, we're going to make that swan a duck. That's what it's about. So, the movie came out about the women using their mind, that the word computer, the computers were not machines. The computers at that particular time in that movie were the women, Black women that couldn't even go to the white side of the room. They had the brain. My dad was one of those computers. That's why I know it's real. And everybody who knows my father knows that. I didn't know it coming up, except I just think, my dad is hecka smart. Like, how does he just do that? Found out when the movie, so I was like watching a movie about how my dad does stuff. He's just doing it in his head. And y'all all know people who are smart. I'm talking about super smart, lawyers, doctors, you know, the first heart surgeon, brain surgery, blood transfusions. Come on now, talking about science and botany man, it just goes on and on. All the inventors and all of the people, when it comes to being able to put your mind to something and do something, more is strength. Other cultures are really good at copying us. And they're also really good at, I would say manufacturing something we invent. So like we might invent something, say like the cotton gin, and we make one. Boy, that white European will be like, wait, show me how to do that again. And we like, yeah, if you just take this and then make it kind of like have like, you know, like claws, it'll just pull the cotton and then the seed will be left behind. Thank you there, little nigger. Go get that little friend. Eli Whitney. Patent this, please. Thank you. Man ain't never picked a bowl of cotton in his whole life. He created the cotton gin. You heathens go pay. Whoa! Y'all gonna pay. You gonna pay. You gonna pay. How about the thing called the automobile plant? Came out of a black mind. George Washington Carver was watching a plant, a real, actual plant develop. He called the Ford company and told him, said, hey man, look, you can create a thing called an assembly line, because I'm watching how these flowers and these plants grow and how they put things on so that you get a finished product at the end. If you could break down that car into these particular parts and put it on an assembly line, then you could produce cars. You don't have to start one at a time. You could do a bunch at a time. Watch this. That came out of his mind. Intellectual. They, to this day, they still call those places what? Plants. I got to work at the plant. So now it's just all over the world. It's plant. I go to the glass plant. I'm at the aluminum plant. I'm working at the steel plant. Why? Because that came out of our mind. Time would fail me to tell all the stories. I'm just trying to show you something. That means you're strong, right? And today I'm trying to keep everything positive. My mom told me when she was in school, because at that time, segregation was just being over and students were mixing in classes and all that kind of stuff. She said, when you see like the Chinese and the Japanese kids today scoring very high in like all the sciences and mathematics and all that, she was like, when I was a child, the class were all black. When she said, I know some. What? Mm-hmm. Smartest people in the schools always the black kids. Well, she said when she was growing up, one, you had to be smart to stay in school because of the pressure and everything that was always trying to get you out. So when you went to college and your family was struggling, all that, she was like, you couldn't go out there playing. You had to go out there and try to do something. So she was like, so when you saw a black person in a classroom, you already knew that person is going to be probably the smartest or the second smartest person in the whole class. Facts. Until they gave us a different culture and told you that you were dumb. Now you don't. Now you're not. The greatest writers, the greatest poets, the greatest singers, I go on and on and on. Where do you think that comes from? Being able to produce music. Now, I'm not saying copy music. I'm talking about start a whole genre that the whole world still plays today. It comes from here. It comes from here. We started the blues. Now everybody's singing. We started jazz. Now everybody sings it. We started rock and roll. Now everybody does it. We started it. We started R&B. We created funk. We created gospel music. We created this new age music. We created avant-garde. We created pop. We created it. That's our thing. We created smooth jazz. We created every music. It don't matter what it is. If y'all ain't never heard of Brothers Johnson's, go back and listen. Funky and jazzy. Strong. They had to stop that. The powers that be said, we got to stop. They're too strong. It doesn't matter what they do. They're so strong that if it's physical, it's going to be ridiculous. Ask Tiger Woods. Changed the whole golf courses that you couldn't even pick a weed out of the ground. They said, leave that weed there. It's part of our tradition. That weed has been in that same spot for the last 250 years. My great-great-great-great-grandpapa, when he made this white-only exclusive, said we will never uproot a weed in this spot as long as this course is on planet Earth. But Tiger Woods wasn't like that hole in one. They said, get the bulldozers out. But they tore up every course on planet Earth, boy, bulldozer. I said, man, Tiger ain't finna play at your little municipal court, just in case. I said, are they really? Boy, they tearing up every course on planet Earth. Oh, yeah, every course got tore up. Why? One black man can hit the ball farther than everybody else. Everybody else laying up. Tiger said, man, let's put on the green. Why do I need 2 shots when I can do it in 1? Y'all know I'm telling the truth. Documented, by the way. You can go out and look at this stuff up. Talking about strong. Here's another one. Number 3. Having great resources. Having great resources as of wealth or talent. Either one make you strong. And y'all know we come up out of the Fertile Crescent, so we was rich, wealthy. You do know your grandpa and some of y'all uncles was so rich, they made diamonds like marbles. Negroes was wearing gold like it was. I mean, come on now, gold in the nose, ears, gold on every finger, man, gold around it. Made gold to be like pebbles. Silver was made to be like dust. When Solomon, your grandpa, built a temple, he didn't say, oh, put a little gold candelabra right here. He went in there and said, how about we make this whole room gold? Yeah, that's good. And them 2 angels over the mercy seat, make them gold. And the doors when we walk in, make them gold. Man, sure. Matter of fact, I like them little snuffers and the little candlesticks and the menorahs that y'all got in here. This is nice. Make them gold. Sure, no problem. Then he walked in, he said, I think the place I wash my hands should be gold. I said, okay. What else? How about the floor? Make the floor gold. I want my people, when they walk in here, I want them to walk on gold. We had great resources. Y'all should go back and read your history. We was in a land flowing with milk and honey. The Holy Land. But not only that, y'all know, it says not only great wealth, it says, or talent. Talent? Have you read this book right here? Have you read our history? 54 minutes in, y'all said, Murray, man, that's a lot of information. Of course, because they said it's an adjective. I'm trying to tell you it's a noun. Anything else? Oh yeah, not done. Of a specific number. Oh, let me put a number in here so we can all be on the same page. If y'all still rolling with the Moray, put a 57 in this chat. We're gonna continue. Put a 57. I want to show you something. Put a 57. I just want to make sure y'all still paying attention because I'm trying to restore our identity. You're not weak people. You're strong. You're the strongest. But we'll get to that in a minute. Y'all ready? Another word for strong, an adjective they say, I still say it's a noun, of a specified number. And then it says like an army, like this is like an example, an army 10,000 strong. Okay, so now he's talking about numbers. Do you remember in Genesis chapter 15? Let's go there. I think that's what I want. Genesis 15. Go to Genesis 15 and put 15:5 in the chat. Go ahead, put 15:5 in the chat. So we all know where he is. He in chapter 15, verse 5. Yah's covenant with our grandpa. This is my grandpa. This is your grandpa. Let's read the covenant. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven, the Shamayim, and tell the stars if thou shalt be able to number them. He said, count them stars up there. Can you? Come on. No, it's what? It's billions. So shall thy seed be. It's right there. Somebody said, man, we're just a small nation. It's more of us than anybody in the world. Talking about Hebrews? Y'all number everybody. Period. We scattered to the four corners of the earth. The promise was to Abraham. Your seed gonna outnumber everybody. Can you count the stars? No. Another place he said, look at the sand. So based on this definition of strong, talking about numbers of somebody, it's more of us than anything else on the planet. And they act like it ain't. If the Maori had a chance to travel this world, I know better. How are you a minority? And how is it that your percentage in the general population has never changed? Since they start taking the census out. Because they don't. All the people on the island, they don't count them as you. All the people that got a black daddy and a wife, they don't count that child as you. All the people that come on from East Africa, they don't count that as you. All the people that are from back, all the people that, they don't count those as you. They don't even have a word because they know better. They know they can't say Israelite. So they just use a color crayon. They say black. They don't say nothing. Nobody watching the Moray should ever feel that boxing again, ever. It's always going to be a place to say other, right? Other, right? Hebrew, right? Israelite, or right? Native American. Just trying to prove something. This is not my words. This is their words. This is the Webster Dictionary of strong. I'm not making this up. This is just coming right. So now I want y'all, the reason for this again, this is to restore our identity. While I've been talking for an hour, you all, every time I mention one of these lines of strong, what comes to your mind is a black man. Every time I mention any of this, their definition. But until the Moray read it to you tonight, you've never done this before. You've never seen it. You don't even know that you are the walking noun, the walking example of strong. You. They said it's an adjective because they're describing you. Maury, are you sure? Let's go to the next one. Some of y'all reading with me. That's why you say, y'all, he ain't lying. Because you already pulled this up. You pulled it up when I said, hey, you can go to and one click it. You one clicked it, and now you're reading along with the Maury going, how in the world have I not seen this? How is it that I could read this definition and never thought about, because our eyes were closed. Remember, I told you, they did a job on us in slavery. But now when the Moray, see, my eyes are open. So when I share with you, now you see it. And you go, wow, that's crazy. They're describing us to a T. Let's finish. Striking or superior of its kind. That's strong. When we were talking about mankind, come on now. Israelites. I told you all, I did a thing a couple of weeks ago where I was trying to show the difference, how Abba Yah wants us to prepare to meet the king. He wants to get rid of spots and wrinkles, right? And when I got to the part on wrinkles, I wanted to try to find some black people, some black Hebrew Israelites that was wrinkled up. And do you know, I couldn't hardly find none. There was other cultures that was wrinkled up. But when it came to us, we just wasn't wrinkled. Just couldn't hardly find none. I couldn't find a good enough example to make my point. Why? Because unless our people disobey the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High Yah and live a terrible, nasty, dirty life, doing all kinds of stuff we ought not do, our skin and our bodies don't age the same as everybody else. People don't have no idea how old we are until we tell them. And we got it honest, you know, our great-great-great-grandmother was so fine that the king of Egypt saw her and was like, okay, well, I gotta have her. Like, dude, she like 70. It don't matter. I get it, because some of her daughters are still around. That's my point. So what is that? So you can't say, oh, no, that's just when we got over here. No. We've been a beautiful people for a long time. Y'all ain't never heard of Queen Esther? You think that's a make-believe story? Or was she so strikingly beautiful that Xerxes was like, girl, I'll give you half the kingdom. What you want? She said, I really just don't want to die tonight. I really just don't want to die in the moment. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is, whoa! You so fine. Goodness gracious alive. She said, well, somebody trying to kill me and my family. He says, whoever that is, he's going to be dead in the morning anyway. So who is he? They asked all the beautiful women to come so he could choose a wife. I'm just saying, we're pretty people. It's okay. Just because we show something. Now watch this. But it also talk about striking, superior of its kind. Now, all I'm gonna say about this and move on is original. So when we look at Adam is the original man, and he's obviously made from the soil, and he's Yah breathed, right? So he has all the pigment, he has the melanin, he has the wisdom, the knowledge, he has all of, we already know based on the things that Abba Yah had him do. So Yah says, I made him in, right, in his image and in his likeness. And so when Abba Yah decided that he would allow his word to become flesh and dwell among us, of all the different looks he could have taken, he chose to take on the look of the original man, which is us, black. He chose to have a fro. He chose to have a beard. He chose to have black skin like burnt brass. That's his choosing. Why? What? Like close resemblance, strong resemblance. That's why we are supposed to look at him. Because the more we look at him, the more we'll see us and we'll realize who we are and whose we are. And that whole ugly duckling syndrome will just fall off you. That whole Stockholm syndrome thing will just fall off of you. That falling in love with your captors will just disappear. That whole I gotta lighten my skin will just be stupidity. That whole I'm ashamed of my hair, man, would be ridiculous. That's one of the things I like that's going on right now among my people. Oh my goodness gracious, more love it to get them weaves and other people's hair out your head, Zion, and be like these strong Hebrew Israelite sisters now. They like, oh no, I'm wearing my own hair. Why? It's the best hair on the planet. Got me wearing some Indian hair or some, what was wrong? Some blonde person? I'm not wearing this stuff. I got the best hair on the planet. I love that. Going back to nature. If you want to wear your fro out here like this, when you walk, just do it's your hair. It's your glory. You just realized recently because your grandmama and them was ashamed of their hair. And then your grandmama and them, your mama and them was putting all them weaves and all kind of stuff in their hair, right? I'm not talking about if you got like cancer. I'm not dealing with that. I'm just talking about because you was ashamed of your own natural hair. And you had people, and you didn't know what you was doing, so burn out our poor daughters, man. They was losing, their hair was falling out. They didn't even understand, man, that there's a spiritual connection when you tie other people's hair to your head and all that kind of stuff. We didn't know none of that. But in the awakening, Abba Yah made us look at ourselves, and we saw that we were beautiful. Everything about us, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. We don't have to ever do anything to make us look like nobody. We are the swan. I'm helping Zion get their identity restored by showing you what the heathen wrote about what this word is. I didn't write this. They said it's an adjective. I submit to you it's a noun. Effective or efficient, especially in a specified direction. Huh? Let me say it like my mom and them would say it. Let me say mom and daddy would say it. That we could do anything once we set our mind to it. If y'all understand that or have ever heard that before, put a 100 in this chat, please. And then I'm gonna get to this word, and then we're gonna be out. Put a 100. If you understand that last one, what I just told you, If you've ever heard somebody tell you that, you can do anything if you just put your mind to it. And there's nothing that can stand in our way as a people. I don't care if it is racism. I don't care if it's Jim Crow. I don't care what it is. When we literally put our mind to doing something, we can actually get it done in spite of it. Who does that? Who can just think of something and then have to face all the rejection of the world and some kind of way figure out how to accomplish it anyway? Brilliance. That means you're strong. And I stayed positive on purpose because it's easy to go negative. You can see how we strong negative. I'm not dealing with negative right now. I'm dealing with strength. That's their definition of strong. Now, if everybody's with the moray up to this point and you're still rolling, let me give you the Hebraic definition of strong. And y'all already got it. But the Hebraic definition of strong is what? Aleph. Our first letter. Isn't that incredible? The very first letter in our alphabet is strong. Is it okay for me to shout during class? Because I feel like shouting. I'm just saying as a moral, y'all won't think no less of me if I turn this study and this classroom session into a shouting session. A hallelujah giving y'all praise time. I feel like worship. I feel like we're on the Shabbat. Our first letter is strong. So when you look at the people who this is us, our first letter says, you're strong. The Aleph. And I was talking to Hula on the way down from the hill. And I said, Yah being the Aleph for us is our strength, right? She was like, yes, of course. I said, so he's our leader. Yeah. And I said, did you notice that when it comes to the Father, it starts with what? Aleph. When we say brother, starts with what? Aleph. When we say sister, it starts with what? Aleph. When we say mother, it starts with what? Aleph. Strong father, strong brother, strong sister, strong mother. See, if we just knew our alphabet, we wouldn't let nobody tell we was weak. You just knew your alphabet. You wouldn't let nobody tell you was something wrong with you. If you knew your alphabet, you wouldn't have to listen to all these other folk who ain't got, they're not Israelites. They can't see themselves in this book. No, this book is about a people. This book is about a nation called Israel. And Israel is still living. This us, we're still living it right now. So what Yah says is, after this last captivity, Israel would be unrecognizable. Why? Because that last captivity was going to do something to Israel that had never been done before. What is that? Remove the Aleph. Once there's no Aleph, once we get rid of Aleph and replace him with white lipstick rouge wearing weakest sinner devil on the planet, we got him. As long as they see that image, as long as they have that in their mind, they ain't gonna never be strong if that's what they bowing down to. So they just keep that image over and over and over again. And you go everywhere you look. What did they do to us? Removed our aleph. More, is that true? Oh, yeah, they wouldn't even let you say his name. Do you know as Hebrews today still won't even say Yah? They won't say Yahuwah. They won't say Yahoshua because they're afraid somebody going to come to them. What you talking about, man? So they just say white Jesus and Lord. They moved your aleph and gave you this sickening stuff right here. They took your aleph. They told you you can't read about it. Don't use his name. Cover it up. You can only speak the name of white Jesus. So now what happened? Weak as water. Now you're weak. Our first letter is the ox. Muscles. Strong. Leader. Provider. Teacher. And then when we add the father, Ab. Represent the strong pole that holds up the tent. That's the father. Ab. And we get our word Abba. Then the brother is what? Aki. Aleph Het. Aleph Het. Which is the Aleph Het represents a strong wall. Y'all know I'm telling the truth, right? So the house is made with strong pole, strong man, who's the leader, provider, and teacher, and all that. Then you got a strong wall because the Ak is the Aleph, the strong wall. Het. And the same thing when we talk about when we start talking about a Koti, strong wall. So we got a strong men. We have them. They just need to be retaught. Strong brothers, strong sisters. Now I'm gonna show you. Watch this. Now let's go to Aleph Mem. I'm skipping a little bit. I got some more I want to do, but let's go to Aleph Mem. Let's go to Aleph Mem. Im. Let me hold my book still, because some of y'all haven't got the book yet. Im. That word says bind, glue. The picture graphic. The picture graph Aleph represents strength, of course. Mem is water or any other liquid. Combine these picture graphs, mean strong liquid, strong pole, strong wall, strong liquid. What is strong liquid? Strong liquid is glue. I keep trying to tell y'all, look. So we all strong. Strong ob, strong pole, strong provider, protector, strong walls, strong separation, strong protection. Now strong water, which is glue. What is the glue? The glue is the thing that's holding it together. Did you notice that the ob is holding up the tent, right? We know the ob has to be strong. We know the ob has to be a leader. We know the ob has to be the provider. The ob got to be the warrior. There's other words too dealing with the Aleph, dealing with that pole. That pole that holds up the tent can also be used as a staff to fight with, to protect his family with. So all of those things are in place with that ob. The sons that make up the ox and the daughters represent the strong walls of the tent, which means they are supposed to be used to help protect the family too, right? But they also make up the house as the walls of the tent. They're not doing all the holding up. They're doing more of the protection. Watch this. But mama is what? The glue. Oh, wait, I'm talking about our language told us this. Our alphabet told us this. You don't need to go to no psychologist, psychoanalyst, historian, none of that. All you needed, Zion, which they stole from you, all you really needed, if you knew your alphabet, you would know that the mama is the glue. So what does she do? She makes sure, now y'all should really hear this part. She makes sure that everybody, first of all, sticks together. Let's start off with the people in the house. Make sure they stick together. She's supposed to be making sure that there's no animosity, there's no arguing, there's no fussing, there's no dissension between anybody, because she is responsible for making sure everybody is cool and everybody's together all the time. She's the glue. She's the glue. So when you put the panels together, so what they were doing when they were built in, they would do some stitching on some things, and then on some things they would use glue. And they use glue primarily, you can make it out of several things, but they were making it out of, they would boil hide, and the fat and the things like that would come to the top. And they had some way that they would mix it together, and that's how they used their glues. And the glue was so strong in holding seams together. The glue was so strong in putting things together. They saw that as, they said, that is, well, I'll get that in a moment, but they said that's like a mother. So when it comes to the family, you do know, like, her first responsibility is that she's supposed to be strong to her husband. And that's what Paul is saying in the New Testament. He is not dealing with a woman being like a slave, or being like what white folks did to black people, and that's what black people can do to their wives. Man, no, that white supremacy, that's not what he's talking about. Paul is talking about Hebraic function. He says, how can the glue usurp authority over the man who is what? The rod, the strong pole. How is the glue taking authority over the pole? No. That ain't the way it works. The way it works is the pole is holding up the tent. The glue is to keep the seams together while the ob is doing his job. The glue is holding the seams together, keeping things from leaking, keeping the elements out. They're working together. That's what he's talking about. As a matter of fact, when we had good mothers, I'm talking about good mamas, a good mama wanted a good husband. I'm a weak man. A weak. Now everything is financial. Everything has boiled down to money now. And to you, sister, listen to me, it ain't your fault. You were conditioned that way because because the powers that be, white folk and white supremacy, always had money and they always wanted you. So what they would always do was say, your man ain't no good if he ain't got no money. And so they would make sure that he didn't get no money. So you would see him as no good, and he would always have money. So you would see him as good. And you would always want to go toward him because you would think that he is next to this person right here. And psychologically, it began to tear the family apart. I was trying to talk earlier today about what a good man was and a good husband and a bad husband. I was trying to talk about that earlier today. And the response I got was, if he can't provide, if he ain't got no money. And I said, so that just makes him a bad husband? Well, he shouldn't even be married if he don't have enough money. So money is what qualifies him for being a good husband. And while I would say that that's partially true, Torah is what qualifies a person for being a good husband or not money. Because there's always situations and circumstances in life that can cause a person who's keeping Torah to be without money. He could be broke, struggling. But we live in a day today that if a brother, man, hit a rough patch, man, a sister be out. And I ain't talking from what I heard. I'm talking about what I lived through. Shoot, I ain't finna stay with you, you broke. You ain't got no money, I'm out. Why? Because when the brain says money is what qualifies my husband for being a good husband or a bad husband, then he could be good husband and just hit broke. And then what she's supposed to do during the times of the struggle is that she's supposed to be the glue. That's the time when he working his, I'm not talking about no lazy bum. Y'all know whoa, you know, I can't stand that Negro right there. So I'm not even talking about him. I'm not talking about that bum that's sitting around smoking dope all day, drinking red Kool-Aid and watching TV and playing video games. I'm not talking about him, period. So get that out your mind before you be trying to talk about, well, you know, I ain't talking about that person. I'm talking about the one who got a job and got fired, or who had to go to court and lost everything he had, or somebody lied on him, and now as a result, he don't have no money. He's struggling now. Oh, shoot, he can't provide. He be done messed up my credit. Shoot, I'm getting out of here. So that happens. Why? Because we don't know where the glue. The women don't know that Torah is the glue. So in the rough patches, that's the time that you're supposed to stick closer to him. You're glue. Ruth had to remind Naomi of that. If y'all go back and study the story of Ruth, Ruth had to remind Naomi of who she was. You're the strong water. You're the glue. Naomi said, but I don't have nothing. I lost it all. I lost it all. My husband is dead. My 2 sons are dead. And you 2 girls, Orpah and Ruth, how young you should go get it? Because even if I was to get married tonight and have more kids, you ain't going to wait around for them going back. Orpah said, you know what? You're right. She kissed mama and got on. But Ruth said, but I know you strong water, though. You're the glue. So what did she say? I'm stuck to you. I'm sticking to you. But baby, I don't have nothing. It don't matter. Mama, you're going through a rough patch. I tell you what, your people will be my people. Where you go, I'll go. Where you lodge, I'll lodge. Matter of fact, your Elohim is my Elohim. If we end up dying together, we die together. And so help me, Yah, if I don't keep every single word I just said. Naomi said, well, guess it's time to go back to come on, girl, let's go. Because you're right. I let my poverty and my pain get my mind away from my purpose. I am the glue. So let's go back. And you already know the story, what happened, right? Because they stuck together and they worked the thing out. Now, I could do that more. I just wanted to bring that out, is that understanding that role makes you look at certain things different. You're like, oh, so I'm here for such a time as this. Or let's just say, father is gone a lot because he's working. And I'm not talking about because he's out sleeping with everybody. I'm not dealing with the negative tonight. I'm talking about a brother who's actually, trying to provide for his family, but he got to be away from home. His wife ain't supposed to cheat on him while he gone. Talking about he ain't never home. So I just started talking to this person, and that thing I know I was liking him and he was liking me. And the husband be like, didn't even, what's going on here? Well, shoot, I got needs. He don't know. He knows you got needs, but he didn't know you was cheating. You were supposed to do something about that. You were supposed to keep things together because you're the glue. And he's trying to provide for the family. Yes. You know what else you're supposed to do while he's out trying to provide for the family? You're supposed to be making sure that those children stay connected to their dad. Hey, babe, my job's going to take me for a couple of weeks. He's supposed to say, your daddy ain't never here. I got to do this. No, that's not the way it works. You're the glue. So you have to stick your children to the daddy. And you got to stick yourself to the father. And you got to make sure that the children are stuck to the father and that you stuck to the children because you're the glue. As soon as your grip loosens, as soon as you loose your grip on your husband, the whole family unravels. You lose your grip on the children, the family unravels. You lose your grip on anything, on yourself. The structure unravels. Why? Because everyone has been given a strong characteristic. The strength of the man is when he's operating as what? The Ab. The strength of the children, or I should say of the sons and daughters, the brothers and sisters, is when they're operating as what? Ak. The strength of the woman is when she's operating as who? Im. If y'all understand that, because I told y'all this week was going to spend more time on the mother. If you understand that, put a 1,000 in the chat, because I got another step I want to take you. Put a 1,000 in the chat. I drink up all my water talking to y'all. Oh, I got a little bit in this cup. Okay. I got a couple more minutes to go, and then I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna show you something else. And actually, Hula brought this up, so I'm gonna give her credit on this one. She said, not only is the Aleph, which represents strength, right? Strong. She was like, but water is also, the Mem is actually represents, strength too, power. Because water, of course, can represent chaos or force, like in a storm, or probably more accurate, like a tsunami or like a tidal wave. So you're talking about a particular power that can't be stopped if it starts moving like a tidal wave. I don't care who you are. You can't go up and much. Oh, no, that mug is falling. A tsunami is going to wreak havoc, right? So glue then with the Aleph in front of the water gives the woman a double strength. She's supposed to be strong. Now watch this. She said because she's got to have the Aleph strength. She also has to have the water strength, but under control. And what is one of the unfortunate realities of and I wanted to say women, I'm going to say our wives, our mothers today. One of the unfortunate realities is she's out of control. She's not under control. And at this time, I'm talking about just of herself. So before we can even deal with her being under the control of her husband, under the control of Yah, Many of our women are out of control, period. Now, for whatever reason, that's not my point tonight either, because I'm just setting the standard. All I'm showing you is that it is a very dangerous thing to the family when the glue, the water, is out of control. I don't know why I just had a crazy thought right in the middle of me being super serious and going down super. I started thinking again about this old stupid thing they doing on. Man, you know they putting gorilla glue in their hair. What is wrong with you? Anyway, but glue is strong. What's wrong with y'all? Glue don't go in your hair. Man. Anyway, again, that's out of control. Glue is strong. It's meant to hold things together. So we're talking about that. So it has to be strong. Somebody said, Maury, why'd you even say that? It just made, I was thinking about these crazy people don't got sense enough to know that glue is strong. Now, y'all know glue is strong. So if they call a glue gorilla glue, and the gorilla is the strongest thing in the forest, and glue is already strong, what's wrong with y'all? That's crazy. Woo! All that preaching and teaching Maury be doing. I told y'all sometimes I have to take off. I got to go to the water. I got to go to the mountains. I got to go to the ocean. Because I do all this teaching and come back and see that one of our sisters done glued her hair with some gorilla glue. After all these messages, 1,000+ messages, over 100-something messages on restoring our identity, and she glued her own head. I'm like, oh, forget it. Zion ain't gonna never wake up. But then I go pray, and I buy y'all say, no, it's okay. It ain't that many of them. And I hope nobody in this chat is trying that. Let's get back to this lesson. Let's get back to the strong water. If y'all, let's get back in here. Put a 21 in the chat. If we go, put a where we at? 21,000 in the chat. I want to show you something about that strength, that double strength. I see a problem in the Hebrew Israelite experience when it comes to the Aleph, Bet, the Ab, the Aleph Het, the wall, the brethren, the Aleph Het, the sisters, and the Im, the Aleph Mem. Say, what is it? Whenever the Aleph is removed, think about it. So let's say that the Ab, which is supposed to be the strong pole, remember, he's not only the pole, but he's the leader, the provider, the shelter. He's got all those things also that he has to do, right? His responsibility. Watch this. But what if the tent is raggedy? And mama don't want to put no glue. She don't want to hold it together. Do you know that you can have a strong Ab and weak tent? It'll just tear up. Ab will still be there, but the tent will be tore up. So it's everybody's responsibility to do their part. So if the Aleph is taken, watch this, from the pole, it's a weak pole. If the Aleph is taken out of the wall, it's a weak wall. If the Aleph is taken out of the water, it's weak water. So then you don't have what? Strong. You have the opposite, which is weak. So what did the slavers understand? They understood that they had to get the Aleph out of us. Because as long as we operated with the Aleph, strong father, strong mother, strong brothers, strong sisters. Take the Aleph out, weak father, weak brothers, weak sisters, weak mama. Put the olive back in. Strong. I was missing. And what did they do? I told you. Took the olive out and gave you this sissy. And once y'all saw that sissy and thought that that was actually Hamashiach, the mental slavery kicked in. And now when you look in these so-called, and I don't even want to talk about, the so-called churches, but church is starting to now be known for soft men. Over the choir, yes, child. Soft deacons, child. Soft pastors, my dears. Yeah. And the more I can't do that. Wasn't raised that way. People expect to see soft and weak, scared of the dark, running from cats. Talking about, baby, can you go check on that noise I heard in the middle of the night? No. That kind of person, I'm going to need you to keep them away from the morgue, right? Blood pressure be running through roofs. And boy, I start seeing stars. I can't be around that person. Didn't grow up like that. That person bothers me. Woo. This is more like it for me. Right here. I don't say that. I said this is more like eyes got to be a little red, a little bit gray, and got that look like, I'm still cool, but I don't play it like that. So they gave you this, made you weak. But the whole time you had a Bible, and he was trying to show you that for strength. The whole time you had a Bible. It said his hair was like lamb's wool, eyes like flames of fire, and color like burnt brass, not just brass, as though it had burned in a furnace. Read the Bible. And I showed you the pictures of our brother and our people. So here's the problem. Here's where we are, Zion. The question is now that we understand that everybody in the family, fathers, brothers, sisters. I could have went father, mother, brother, sister, but just because of how it flowed alphabetically, we ended up with the brothers in the middle. But it would really be fathers, right? Mothers, then children, which break up the brothers and sisters, right? Notice that in our language, all of them start with an aleph, and all of them represent strength, which means that to make our families truly what Yah wants them to be, number one, aleph has to be put back in. Like I said, I was talking to Hula a little bit earlier, and she said, once the aleph is gone, then you're going to have nothing but confusion. Why? Because it's weak now. Every conversation is going to be weak. All the arguments are just stupid arguments, and now you're dealing with and nobody is understanding their true identity. Zion, this is not a lesson about what you should be. This is a lesson about what you really are. You don't know that you are strong. You are the Aleph Bet. You are the Aleph Het. You are the Aleph Mem. You already are that. What you need to do is rediscover who you are so that you can now begin to walk in the person Yah made you to be. Even in the land of our captivity, we can be strong. Even in this valley and shadow of death, you can still be strong. Uncompromised. For Yah I live and for Yah I die. Man, say I love my family, I'm going to be the I'm done with this whole TV definition of what a man is and all that. How about this? I'm going to read the Torah. And when I read Torah and find out what a husband is and what a father is and what a man is and those responsibilities, I'm going to do them because that's who I am. Same thing with a brother. Same thing with a mother. I'm through getting a definition of who I am from Hollywood, New York, Atlanta. About my identity comes straight from Abba Yah, who is who? The ultimate Aleph. The ultimate Abba. He is the one, according to the Bible, when we pray, we're supposed to say, Abba, Father, strong. Strong. He's our strong Father. He's the strength of our house, Zion. And that's why, again, when we study what Rabbi Shaul, which is our cousin, Paul the writer, yes, you heathens, you go in trouble for that too. You heathens painted Paul white, and you know he's black. You know he ain't just black, he blick black. You know that. He's blickety black black. You know he's ace of spade black. And y'all made him look white. You gonna pay? Because now you got a lot of our people don't want to read him because they don't know that that's their cousin. Paul understood Hebrew 100%. That's why when you get to Ephesians, when he starts talking about wives, love your husbands, he don't use the English word there. I'm sorry, wives, submit to your husband and obey them, right? He ain't using the English word. And when he says husband, love your wife, he's not dealing with an English word. And he deals with children, honor your parents. And he's not dealing with an English word there. And he's talking about slaves and masters. He's not dealing with English word for slave or English word for master. What is he doing? He's reminding everybody of their Yah, Abba Yah, given responsibilities toward the house and ultimately toward Israel. That's based on our culture. Why? Because the Hebrews in Ephesus, living over in Ephesus, forgot who they were. The Hebrews living in Corinth forgot who they were. The Hebrews that was living in Galatia forgot who they were. The Hebrews that were living in Thyatira forgot who they were. The Hebrews that were living in Thessalonica forgot who they were. The Hebrews that's living in London forgot who they were. The Hebrews that's living in the United States of America forgot who they were. You don't know who you are. So he says, I got to go back to square one. Our king is coming back, and our men are weak. What is that? Our king is coming back, and our brothers they're not strong walls. They fighting each other. What is that? Our king is coming back, and the water that's supposed to be glue is weak. No olive. What is that? So he said, we got to fix that before you get here. That's what that's about. That's not about saying, and men, you know this, and the women going, yeah, uh-huh. And then brothers and sisters, you know you need it. Yeah, brother, but you say, no, that's not what that's about. It's not about arguing and pitting the male against the female. This ain't no competition. Y'all better get that out your head. That's not the way Israelites looked at the family. The devil gave you that in slavery. And that is killing us because of epigenetic trauma. That stuff is still in our DNA. But as soon as you see the truth and you read it for yourself, Abba Yah can turn that thing around. So we're strong. We are the very definition of strong. Not the adjectival definition, the adjective definition of no. We are the what? Now. When they say strong, they really talking about you. When they say strong, they really talking about me. And hallelujah, We're going to stay strong, Zion. How long? Till it's all over. How long? Till we get home? I hope you enjoyed class. If you did, put a 1 million. We learned tonight about the strength of our houses, our strength of our families. We learned tonight that the Aleph is the strength. We read the English definition, and then we saw the Hebraic concrete definition. And now we rediscovered a little more about our culture. Y'all know something? Man, we had that thing together. Oh, we were a people above. We were a people that Yah said was his bride, the apple of his eye. We were a chosen generation. And this, our disobedience and sin pulled us away from our original plan and purpose. But hallelujah, we're back. The books is open. We done got keys to unravel our language and our history and our culture. It's almost time for us to go home. So Toda Rabbah, don't forget to support the work of the ARK. Y'all know we need it to put in this kind of work and information for Zion. To continue to do the work, we appreciate it if you would give something to help us. And we promise, I promise, to continue giving you something to help you. I pray that every time we get together, you learn something to help you be a better Hebrew as we get rid of all the spots and all the wrinkles that we might get ready to meet our King. Hallelujah! I got to go. One love, Zion. Toda Rabbah, Yaron and Drika being in the house. You know we can't go live without y'all. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. And y'all pray for the Moray. Hopefully I'll be back again. I might be back tomorrow. I got some things I want to share with you. So until then, y'all know I love you. Thank you for being in class. From the bottom of my heart, the bottom of my heart, I love you, and I pray that you continue to keep Moreh Yoshiyahu Dawid of the ARK in your prayers. Shalom.
Crazy about the way that the spy shut in my bones, and I pray that I'm not alone. Love reminiscing with cats that go way back with the kid, and I can't wait to go home. And I can't wait to put on the people that are alive whose heads bob on their own. Whose heads bob to a song when a brother get on the mic and a brother get on the drum. It's alright, it's all fun. And if you don't know all the lyrics, you can hum. So take it from me, call on Javon, cause it's all paid for and finished, it's all done. Trumpets will be blowing, Chocolate City will be blowing, trumpets will be blowing.